Okay, testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is a test. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is a test. Okay, thank you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is a test of the picture and the sound. Inshallah, the webinar will begin at 12:05 Eastern Time. Yes. इसके साथ करना नहीं चाहिए। ठीक है। Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Brothers and sisters, my name is Azhar Zaidi, and I would like to welcome each one of you to this Dar El Salam Hajj information webinar. As a background, I have been with Dar El Salam for about 25 years. I am part of an excellent senior management team that is responsible for all the operational planning and management of Hajj programs for Dar es Salaam and Umrah programs as well. On behalf of Dar es Salaam, it is indeed an honor for the opportunity to serve you in any capacity as you undertake this sacred journey to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to complete the fifth pillar of Islam, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you a safe journey. May He bless you and reward you for your intention to perform Hajj and accept your Hajj and supplications and bring you back home. I would like to start the presentation, and I will encourage you, I'll have some housekeeping items, and I would encourage you to listen to it in its entirety. It will take approximately 60 minutes or so. There is a chat function on Ustream that you have in front of you. It is really meant for any technical issues that you may have regarding this broadcast. But if you do have questions, you can write your questions and send to ask@darelsalam.com. That's ask, A-S-K, @darelsalam.com. The question and answer session, though, will be held at the end of the webinar presentation. We will respond to your questions if it is not already answered during the course of the webinar. So maybe you should just write your questions and hold on sending it. Chances are it will be covered in the course of the webinar. If not, you can always send the question to ask@darelsalam.com. We will have ample opportunity for Q&A, inshallah, at the end. So thank you for your patience and understanding, and I will get into the agenda. What I thought would be best, and I try to answer questions that people going for Hajj normally don't even know to ask. It is important, and so the presentation is put together bearing that in mind. I will start with a brief overview about Dar es Salaam. You should know about the company you intend to perform Hajj with. It's important to know their background, their experience, their understanding, their knowledge. And then it's important to know the facilities that they provide when you don't have hotels, as in Mina, Arafat, and Muzdalifah. It's also important that you know that when you do have hotels, what kind of hotels, how far they are away, both in Mecca and Medina and Aziziyah, and of course the services in the hotels themselves. And then transportation during the manasik. What types of transportation will be used? All of these has an impact on your act of worship. You need not worry about these things, and hence we're presenting it so you can understand the type of facilities and services we provide. And then we get into preparing for Hajj. So how and what do we do to prepare you? What do we provide? What do we do to prepare you for this sacred journey? Once in a lifetime. Chances are you will go there once in a lifetime, and therefore you must be prepared for it in the busy schedule that you all have. And when you are there, what type of an organization do we have that looks after you, and what type of services do we provide? And once we go through all of this, it gives you a pretty good idea, a pretty good understanding of everything that you need to know about the company, its facilities and services for Hajj, and then we can get into the specific packages that we have in 2017, and then you can look at the pros and cons of what is suitable to you and then perhaps make a choice. So the purpose here really is to assist you in choosing a Hajj program, but it is important, and if you were to ask anybody about the Hajj program, there are many questions that you have, and we'll try to answer them prior to getting into the packages, inshallah. So about Dar El Salam, Dar El Salam is privileged really in providing Hajj services to Muslims throughout North America for over 30 years. Now, what does that mean? That means that we have the most experienced staff with literally decades of experience, service experience, not just in the USA, but also in Saudi Arabia. I'm not the only one with 25 years of experience doing Hajj and Umrah program. We have many such people, both here and also those who look after Saudi operations. As a result of doing this over 30 years, we have established credibility with airlines, hotels, Saudi authorities, catering companies, transportation companies, you name it. We have, mashallah, offices located in New York City, in Houston, in Fort Lauderdale, Los Angeles, and in Toronto, Canada. But our purpose and our motto, and you will find this in everybody that you deal with in Dar El Salam, is that we take nothing for granted. We work hard to earn your trust and to keep your trust every single time for every single service that we provide to you. We measure our services for Hajj. I'm sharing a slide with you. When you return from Hajj, you will receive a questionnaire, and this is not a simple questionnaire. It's about 40 questions. It's all online because we want to know from you how our services were, how our facilities were as you experienced it, as you saw it. So it's best to do this when you return back, having experienced the first contact with the office till you return home. So this is a very extensive survey, and there are questions in there such as how satisfied were you overall with the services provided for Hajj by Dar El Salam. And people tend to answer it either very satisfied, satisfied, neutral, and dissatisfied. So in 2015, we had a very extensive response back. The response ratio to the survey is pretty significant. We had about 96% of the people that said that they were very satisfied or satisfied. And in 2016, that was 15, 2016, we had 97% of the respondents who were very satisfied or satisfied. And I'm talking about the response of over 500 people in the survey. Now that's a very high bar that we have set for ourselves to be able to maintain that level of satisfaction. And we are number one in Hajj and Umrah service provider in North America, not because of our size, but because of the dedication of our staff and the diligence and the detail to which we follow and the services that we provide, and also because the loyalty of our customers who keep coming back. So it's a very tall order for us to continue. Inshallah, we will do better in 2017 than we did in 2016. Now, before I get into the details, it is very important for me to cover this aspect, and that is that this webinar is for educational purpose only. What you're about to see in our facilities and services was what we provided in 2016, and some of all that was provided also in previous years. But it is important that you understand that there are many variables outside our control, and therefore the information you're going to see may be subject to change without notice. One of them is Hajj regulations that is issued by the authorities from time to time. So we actually conform to all the Hajj regulations. So what you're going to see is what we did in 2016. Our objective and our goal is to provide that level or better services. However, we have variables outside our control, such as regulations and so forth, and so some of these things may change without notice. Let me start with our Mina camp. It is important to understand. Now, when you ask somebody, tell me about Mina, people tend to ask the question, answer the question by saying where it's located. Well, the location is one aspect. The second aspect is what's in it. What services do I get? What facilities are there? Because, you know, those are the days of Hajj. That's when you're there. That's what you're there for. And so it's important that you're able to concentrate on the ibadat and not get frustrated by the lack of facilities or lack of services in the very hot weather that's going to be there as Hajj is moving into the summer months. So I'm showing you now a map of Mina camp, and I'm showing you two camps. I'm showing you on the top right side a North American camp, which is where the vast majority of the people from both Canada and the United States end up going. And then there is the Dar El Salam camp. And when you're looking for Hajj packages, people don't tend to ask which camp is it. If it's a North American camp, then all the services and the facilities in that camp is based on that $300 Hajj draft that you provide to your travel service provider. Now that camp is about 45 to 50 minutes walking distance to the Jamarat each way. One way walking distance, 45 to 50 minutes. And none of the roads that you see on this map that is in the valley below will be open. It is so crowded that they shut the roads down after you get there on the 8th of Zulhijjah, and after everybody returns from Arafat on the 10th of Zulhijjah. That's it. So you have to walk on the 10th, 11th, and the 12th, and the 13th from that North American camp, if you were there, to the Jamarat in 45 to 50 minutes each way. The temperature last year was about 116 degrees. So you can imagine what it would be like to do that. The second part that people don't ask is what's in the camp. In the North American camp, all bathrooms are public bathrooms. There is no private bathrooms for any particular group. The meals are all box meals, and the transportation for you to go to Arafat or the Muzdalifah is a common transportation. It's not a private transportation that's dedicated to your group. It's a bus. Anybody gets on the bus provided by the Mutawif. Your group might take a bus and try to put the group together, but there's not enough of it. An example, last year some of the folks that were in the North American camp, when they went to Arafat, they had to wait their turn to return from Arafat. And they were told that their turn would be at 10 p.m. Maghrib in Arafat was at 6 p.m. So they had to wait till the bus showed up again to take them back. These are the things, these are the services and the facilities that people don't talk about, besides the fact, oh, it's Mina, it's North American camp. It's far different. People ask me to compare the two. There is no comparison when you look at Dar El Salam's camp or North American camp. There's none whatsoever. And you're paying for the camp itself, being in the location itself and the facilities and services, because that's what matters. You are now in Hajj. You are in Ihram. You came for this purpose, and therefore you need to be able to concentrate, and therefore we must be able to provide you facilities and services that allows for someone to bear the heat and the atmosphere and the environment in Saudi Arabia, but the person is used to living in North America. North American camp does not provide that, but Dar El Salam camp does provide that, and there's the difference between the two. I wanted to show you the location of Dar El Salam camp compared to the Jamarat. Is right across, but I have a detailed map here. You can see the Dar El Salam camp closer here, and you can see where the Jamarat is, which is right across. It is the very first set of camp across from the Jamarat. You can't get any closer than that. And it is sitting on the main road, King Fahd Road, one of the two main roads that leads the traffic in and out of Mina. And so this road is a pretty broad road, and the camp is right next to the road. And then you have the Mina train station as well. We are going to use Al-Mashayir train. When? Leaving from Mina to Arafat, returning from Arafat to Muzdalifah, staying there overnight and back to Mina, those 2 days we'll be using Al-Mashayir train. It's important to note where the train station is. North American camp does not use the train. They have to use the bus because they are nowhere near the train station. And I can tell you, I have been for Hajj many times, and if I was in North American camp, a trip from Muzdalifah back to Mina is 4, 5, 6 hours sitting in the bus Trip to Arafat is a long trip itself. So you stay away from that frustration by using the Mina camp, but you also have other challenges. You stay away from this frustration by using the train, but you have other challenges using train. I'll get into it in detail. If you look now, is a picture of our camp as taken by one of those buildings. You can see those two buildings. These buildings that you see are actually cylindrical buildings. They are actually access building to the different levels of the Jamarat. All they contains are escalators and elevators, multiple levels of escalators to take you to the various levels of the building. And this is a ramp to the Jamarat because they follow the one-way traffic to manage and control the crowd. And this is King Fahd Road. And at the very end of the King Fahd Road is a tunnel. And when you get to the other side of the tunnel, you are in Azizia. You are where our buildings are in the deluxe program, and I'll cover that in a moment. But you can see where Dar El Salam's camp is located, ideally, across from the Jamarat. And you can just imagine when you look at this picture, as to the number of buses that are there. And this is when people are just streaming in to Mina. If you were to stand in front of our camp in the main entrance and look in front of you, you can see the picture on the top left side. This is how it would look. You could see the middle Jamara from the middle of the camp, from standing in front of the camp. And in front of you is the King Fahd Road. Or you can see by the side of Dar El Salam's camp, which is the bottom right picture, where you can see the access building in the back that takes you, literally it's 50 meters away, access building to take you to the different levels of the Jamarat when you have to use that, or you have to go to the train station. Now besides the location, which is important, because you have to go to the Jamarat at least 3 times, if not 4 times during the stay there. Now comes, tell me what does it look like inside the camp, because I'll be living there and it's going to be hot. It's summer months now. So what we do is not only we ask the Mutawif to do set up the camp, but we actively take part in the construction of the facilities, both in Mina and Arafat camp. We have workers, we have supervisors, we provide materials, and we actually take the whole area of the camp and we decide how it is divided, and we design the tent that allows for privacy as well as congregational gathering for salah and lectures. Now this is the part that people have to understand, that the space in Mina is a premium space. There is a guideline associated with how many square centimeters per person. So we're trying to use our design and methods to maximize the usable space. We use brand new furnishings for our customers. We have the best person to bathroom ratio. How much bathroom per person, or how many persons for one bathroom? We have the best bathroom to person ratio that you can find throughout the camp. Of course, men and women have separate accommodations within the respective program, and I'll share with you in a moment. So what do we do with the tents? Number one, we remove the outside. We removed the outside canvas and used a drywall, a sturdy gypsum board. It A, provides for extra space, it's square, and B, if you have AC inside the tent, which we did, then it would keep the tents cool inside. And we did not use the air conditioning that everybody calls, which is water-cooled units. We actually used real air conditioning units, the type of air conditioning that you have in your homes. We have indoor carpeting, new bedding for each person. It includes pillow, bed, sheet, and blanket. And so when it's a huge tent for the men or for the women, we sort of divide it up so that there is some privacy and also allows for air circulation. So what is called a half wall. Don't worry about it. I'll show you pictures of that later on. And then you take with you, when you're in Mina, you take with you your roll-on bag, for example, the roll-on suitcase that you carry in the aircraft with you. Normally people take that with you. And if you do that, where are you going to keep them? If you keep them on the floor, you're taking away space. So we actually create luggage racks that allows more space on the ground. And we keep garbage bins outside each tent to keep it clean. Remember, the temperature is expected to be between 110 and 116 Fahrenheit. And if there's any Canadians watching this webinar, that's about 42 degrees to 45 degrees Celsius. So you are going to be out in the desert in a tent which has an open air up on the top, meaning the canvas is there, but there is ventilation above. And so how much AC will do, what AC will do is keep you comfortable. It won't be the same AC, but it will be sufficiently comfortable for you to be indoors in that temperature. So again, keeping in mind, you need to concentrate on your ibadah. What can we do to help? So here's an example of the tent that we did. I think this is a map that I'm using, showing that the whole camp is Dar El Salam's camp. Security on all of the entrances. One main entrance is kept open, and here you see a design of the camp and color coded for the different groups where we kept them. So the bottom right side where you see the gold color, that's where the men were in program 4 Super Deluxe, and on the top part were the women, the gold color. And the red that you see, all the reds are bathrooms. So we divided up the bathrooms. We had half for the men and half for the women. That you see the blue sort of rectangular shape, that's where the executive lounge was, and that's where the executive program 5 stayed. And the green was program number 3 and 2, and then of course yellow was program number 1. And that's how we take the whole camp. We divide it up. Those open space that you see, the walkways that you see, they're also outdoor carpeted. So there's outdoor carpeting. You will see coolers, insulated coolers. One contains water, one contains soda, one contains juice, and full with ice. You will see that throughout. We also use that space to set up open buffet for individual folks. So just to give you an idea, this is what it looks like. When you look at the picture, this is after the construction is done. You can see the signage. There's program 1 women here. You can see the green carpet. You can see that we also put room numbers on it, and you can see we also put places for people to put their slippers in when you walk inside the camp. And you can see these blue and white coolers. There's a couple of them on the top right side, and these are throughout the camp. There's one at the bottom left side as well. And so this is some of the way the tents look like when it is actually set up as such. On the right side, bottom right side, I wanted to show you or share with you a picture that it is well lit even at nighttime. You can see the garbage bins outside to help keep the tents clean inside as such. There is no room for wheelchairs to go inside, so you can see both on the top right side and the top bottom side, you can see a picture of a wheelchair that is outside, because you don't have room to take it inside. It has to stay outside. So those with wheelchairs, I always suggest to them that they take with them a bicycle lock so they can lock it up in case somebody wants to temporarily use it when you need it. So this is an example of how the tents look like from the outside. What I will do is I will show you what the tents look like on the inside when I walk through the packages, because they are different setup for different packages. Catering services. So while you're in Mina, you're going to eat food. So what do we provide, given the fact that the temperature is about 110 to 116 Fahrenheit? So we actually use the best and reputable catering companies, so make sure the food is clean, it's hygienic. And second thing is that we have variety for everyone. People have all kinds of needs, so we'll have to have variety for everyone. Does that mean that we can cater to all kinds of dietary restrictions, that I need gluten-free and I need something else? We can't do for all of them, but we have enough variety that would be for the vast majority. There are catering stations, as I mentioned, set up for the respective Hajj program. We keep the men separate than the women, and we manage the crowd in the catering station, and the group leader's job is to make sure that it is always has supplies in it, there's enough food in it, and also the fact that people come in and take their food and leave, so the lineups are not long. And there's enough of the catering station set up to manage that. The hot meals are prepared in the camp's kitchens, because you don't want to take a chance in bringing hot meals from outside. That would actually go bad if you're stuck in traffic. So hot meals are prepared in the camp, kept in large, huge insulated containers, and taken to the respective catering stations as needed. Hot and cold drinks, as I mentioned, besides these coolers, we actually have stations with urns that has coffee and tea, and sometimes even in a cup of soup, noodle soups, for example, with different flavors. You also will find fridge in some of the places where you can actually take the drinks from. Our concern is that because it's hot, you need to be hydrated, so there's plenty of drink available to you throughout 7x24. Here's an example of a catering station for a program. As you can see that it's set up, and then you can see at the top, this is something that we have to sort of get into discussion with the fire department as to whether or not we can cover the top, and we were able to do so last year. And this is so that when you're standing there, even for 5-10 minutes in that heat, that at least you have some shade when you're getting your food. Let's talk about the bathroom. So we're all used to the North American style toilets, and that's what we use. So just to let you know, Mina and Arafat is actually demolished at the end of the Hajj. So the bathrooms, including the dry walls, including the tiles, the ACs, they're all removed at the end of each Hajj. So the sinks are gone, the toilets are gone, so every time we actually have to bring in and install it again, construct it again. And so we use North American style toilets that are brand new. There are ceramic tiles on the bathroom floor. We have handheld shower within each bathroom stall. There's vanity baskets in each of the bathroom stall. The sinks are new, and we also know that the water splashes in the sinks, so we actually put rubber mats on the floor so that the floor is not slippery, and sometimes even a cloth on top of the rubber mat. And most important that Dar El Salam does that nobody else does, and that is we have attendants in each of the bathroom. I know people want the bathroom to be clean, and their job is to make sure that as each person comes out of the stall, if it needs to be clean, it needs to be swept. They will do all of that, and they also are there to ensure there's adequate supplies available for use in the bathroom, be it toilet paper or soap, etc. So here's a picture of a bathroom. You look very closely. This is after the construction is complete, before anybody showed up. You can see the sinks. If you look carefully on the sinks, you can see the soap dispensers. You can see there is a rubber mat all throughout, but then the part in front of the sink, that big long one, the blue and white striped one, those are actually cloth. So even though there's a rubber mat, we put cloth on top of it to make sure that the water is absorbed, and so people don't slip and fall. And this is the picture of the bathroom. So of course, to go to the stalls, you can go to the left, on the top left side inside there are each stalls, and then also the same on the bottom. I don't have a picture to share with you of the stalls, but they are clean. Our Arafat camp, just imagine setting things up for a few hours, once a year. So we have to start from scratch. We set up large German style tents to accommodate each of the programs. So each program will have its own large German style tents, separate for men and women. And oh, by the way, the camp has to be located near the train station, so you don't have much to walk when you come from Mina in train into Arafat. Last year, alhamdulillah, we used industrial air conditioning units. What I mean by industrial air conditioning units, that these are the units that are huge, the size of a car, a small car that sits on a huge slab with the ductwork going inside and blowing air. We actually started up the units at night time before anybody showed up, and literally the few folks that showed up in the morning were freezing, even though the temperature was around 100 degrees. So, but of course, during the day, being the tent being open, it sort of neutralized it. But to let you know that we do use industrial AC units and not water-cooled units. Indoor carpeting with ample area for sitting and congregational prayers and lectures. Outdoor carpeting throughout the camp with some sitting area, not much, but some. North American style toilets with attendants to keep it clean. Open buffet meals. And this is the part, this is my favorite part. I keep saying to folks keep worrying about, I don't want to go to the washroom too often, and I keep worrying about the fact that they ought to remain hydrated. So plenty of cold drinks and water. And there'll be more instructions on how to manage yourself in the seminars to come, in the forum and everywhere else throughout the time before you depart. Here's a picture. You can see that in this picture, people have already come in. This is in the morning time. So this is not yet afternoon yet, Zohar time yet. And you can see the two big AC units, the huge industrial units that are blowing air inside. You can see the fan here, and people are sitting here. You can see somebody here is making dua. So the time comes for salah, for example, or the khutbah of Arafat. It'll be held here. We'll have a PA system hooked up here with the imam standing here giving the khutbah, people standing in rows for the salah, etc. And if there's buffet outside, they'll bring the buffet from outside inside to eat. And then after that, of course, there's an example of a buffet inside the tent. This was a Super Deluxe Program 4 last year. The buffet was set up separately for men, and the women were in the back. And this is what the bathrooms look like. You can see this is a picture taken before anybody showed up. But the stalls are on the right side. You can see the sinks here. And this is after the bathroom was set up. But this was a dedicated bathroom that was only for Dar es Salaam. Here's an example of the outdoor area of the tent. And again, I think this is a picture taken in the morning when people arrived. They're having their breakfast or they're having the tea. This is my guess would be this is around 9 o'clock in the morning or so. So some of the folks are sitting on those coolers, and or some of them just standing there having chai, and it's pretty wide enough, and it's already carpeted, so it's safe. You're not walking on sharp objects, if you will, or bare floor, if you will. It's because it's pretty rough floor in some of the areas. Because remember, this is all, as soon as you leave, the tear down starts happening for another year. Here's an example of making dua. So in the top left side is there are people making dua inside the tent, and the bottom right side is people actually making their own individual dua in as part of the Wuquf al-Arafat outside the tent. There are plenty of such areas available for you to choose. Some people will do some outside, then it'll come back inside because it's hot outside, but we have exclusive Dar es Salaam camp for only Dar es Salaam, and you have plenty of choices. Now before I get into Muzdalifah, it is very important for you to understand Muzdalifah for what it is, how it is supposed to be, before I tell you what we do. Very important to understand that, because we work very hard to provide this facility. In general, Muzdalifah as a place to stay for the pilgrims overnight, there is no allocated land given to any pilgrim for any country. It's not like saying in Mina to the North American pilgrims, here Mr. Mutawif, you have to build facilities for them here, and this is where you're going to host them. Arafat, you're going to host them here. Muzdalifah, no such thing. No dedicated area for pilgrims from any country. It's a free-for-all. So all of the bathrooms that you see, they're all public bathrooms. Anyone can go use it. Anybody who is Muzdalifah can use it. Doesn't have to be North America. And all the areas, public area for pilgrims worldwide. There is no semblance of, organized congregational prayers. No meals or drinks are available. And basically it's first come, first occupied. So the group sort of spreads out. Because there's only so much space. You can't keep your group together per se. And that's what Muzdalifah in general is. But what Dar es Salaam has done in working hard is to actually create a private area for Dar es Salaam. Near the train station, it was carpeted and protected up to a certain extent so you can pray, relax and sleep. In that private area, we took one of the public bathrooms that was in Muzdalifah and we took half of it inside the area so Dar es Salaam's customers can use it. And we actually sent somebody in to clean it before anybody arrived. And then we also provided packaged hot meals and drinks, and prayers were held in congregation. Very unique, something that we did, and we strive and work hard to deliver. So that, again, my objective and the objective of everybody in Dar es Salaam is those 5 days, despite the fact that you are there with 2.5 million other people, how can I create an environment for you and provide the facilities and services so you can concentrate with your connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are the days of Hajj. These are the days that are mentioned in the Quran. These are the days when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and remember me when you come down from the mount in Mash'ar al-Haram, as you remember your forefathers. How can I provide an environment that you're not worried about the heat, you're not worried about the place, you're not worried about the bathrooms as much as you're worried about the fact that you have time to concentrate and remember your Lord as He has commanded you to do so in the Quran and in the manasik as described in the Quran. That's our job. How do I do that? How do I provide the facilities? So we actually spend the money to actually make this thing happen. Here's an example of the people, a group that arrived. They come in bunches, and you can see on the right side this little sheet that was put around to surround the area. This is not too far from the train station, believe me. And the carpets that were put on it. Our guys sort of went there, Dar es Salaam worker bees went there to protect this area. And I can see here Dr. Muhammad Salah, Dr. Hamid Slimi, they are here. They are praying Maghrib and Isha as soon as they arrived. And I can see Sheikh Riyad Urzazi, Sheikh Muhammad al-Masmari here. They are leading, Sheikh Muhammad al-Masmari is leading the prayer Maghrib and Isha when they arrived as such. And you can see people in the background, chilling a little bit. They're relaxing. They've already arrived earlier. And here's an example of a picture on the top left side. Yes, last year we did was a hot meal. I think it was chicken rice pre-packed and kept in coolers, and people are picking that up. There's some sandwiches available on the bottom right side that people could get, shawarmas. And here's an example of cold drinks and hot drinks, both available in Muzdalifah. Muzdalifah is sort of outdoors. I mean, you have no camps. You're just sitting under the roof as such. So the temperature is hot. Even overnight, it's pretty hot. And the key to Muzdalifah, which is there a breeze or no breeze? In 2015, it was really, really stifling hot. Not because of the temperature, because absolutely no breeze at all. Not a leaf would move. But last year, alhamdulillah, there was a light breeze. So it makes a difference because you're going to be outdoors and it's going to be hot. There's nothing you can do about that. And you have to spend the time here. So our job is to make sure you are completely hydrated and there's something for you to eat and there's facilities for you to relax and concentrate on your ibadah. The transportation used during Hajj, during the manasik itself, I already mentioned this thing. During the manasik, when you're traveling from Mina to Arafat, and Arafat to Muzdalifah, and Muzdalifah back to Mina, we are going to be using Al-Mashayir train. They consist of 12 cars. So basically, it takes about 3,000 people in one train, 250 passengers. There are actually 3 stations, 3 in Mina, 3 in Arafat, 3 in Muzdalifah. And Dar El Salam's camp in each of the stations in Mina and Arafat and Muzdalifah is near the train station. And the camp for Mina for us is located across, is called Mina station number 3. I cannot give you what the station will be in Arafat and Muzdalifah, but it hasn't been allocated yet. But usually if it is 3 in Mina, we should be 3 in Arafat and also 3 in Muzdalifah. But this is something that will happen later on when we know what the allocation will be as such. So right now we know it's 3, and I've always been very near the train station in the previous years. So how do we get there? You come out of your camp, you take one of these access buildings, it could be any one of them, and you walk through the ramp onto the train station. Amazingly, this path is also used when you're coming back from Muzdalifah on the day of Eid, when you have to throw 7 pebbles at the Jamarat. In this case, you just reverse the arrows, and instead of going all the way to the access building, you're actually forced to, because they block this part, they block it, they don't allow you to go there. You actually walk through the Jamarat. So you can throw your 7 pebbles and then come out and use the access building back to your camp. So very convenient. And we actually provide maps. So part of the kit you will receive before you go for Hajj, and the things that you receive would be a map on how to get from the train station, besides giving you an emergency number to call. But so far, alhamdulillah, it's very easy to follow and very close to our camp. This is a picture of people getting ready. What I wanted to show you here is this is the camp. This is the back entrance. All the people in yellow shirts, hundreds of them. They're all Dar El Salam people. And they are holding this flag that can be seen. These are the markers. They are the ones that are going to stand every so often, so you know you're going in the right direction. And you can see right behind, this is the access building. I mean, this is like 50 meters away. So that's how close we are to accessing both the Jamarat and the camp. And you can see people, these yellow shirt ones, you can see them. They're spread out. They're carrying the green Dar El Salam flag. And there are other people, you can tell they're Dar El Salam people because they're all carrying this backpack. The backpack on their bag is something that you get as a gift from Dar El Salam in Medina or in Mecca. If it's a Medina first program, you get it in Medina. If it's a Mecca first program, you get in Mecca, for example. So these are the backpacks they're carrying, and they are on this access building inside. You can see the level of escalators. You just keep taking one level after another until you arrive at the roof. And this is where we gather again, group leaders along with the Dar El Salam workers with the flags and the signs. And then there are those who need help. They cannot walk even that 20-minute walk, for example, in which case they are actually provided with golf carts. These are government-provided people movers, if you will, but they have to actually get to the top of the ramp upstairs before they can board this, and it takes them straight to the train station. And if you get to the train station right now, this is an example of people at the platform. So on the left side are the doors. When they open, people can walk into the train. And here is an example of inside the train. There are some seats, but people are standing. And this is what the train looks like. They're very clean, by the way. They're air conditioned. The advantage of taking the train is that once the train moves from Mina, it takes 15 minutes to get to Arafat. Once it moves from Arafat, it takes 10 minutes to get to Muzdalifah. So the time is short, but the challenge here is to actually get there, right? You have to walk to the train station. Now, when you compare this to buses, let me tell you, you leave by bus from Mina to Arafat, you're not going to get there anywhere near maybe 2 hours, 2.5, 3 hours, depending on if you happen to get stuck somewhere. Definitely, what I used to call the largest traffic jam in the world is the travel from Arafat to Muzdalifah. Literally, you can get off the bus, have a cup of chai, and then get back on the bus. The bus wouldn't move anywhere. That 6 or 7 kilometer distance would take 6 or 7 hours. People used to leave Arafat at 6 p.m. and they would arrive in Muzdalifah at 1 a.m., even though it's 6 or 7 kilometers, because of the traffic when we were taking the bus. And then the challenge becomes, where does the bus stop? So you're actually spread all over, because the bus stops, you have to sit somewhere, because if you don't grab it, somebody else will grab it. All of that goes away. This was years ago when we didn't have the train. So you have challenges with the train, but by far train is still convenient when you look at it overall. When we do use the buses, for example, when you are in Mina and I have to take you to for Tawaf al-Ifada, or where you are in Mina in program 4 or program 5 or program 3, and I have to take you to make Tawaf al-Wada because you're going to be leaving after that at the end of Hajj. And in general, we use clean air-conditioned buses. We don't use anything else. Clean air-conditioned buses. We try to get our best to get the newest model, 2016, 2017 model, if we can get them as such. But our objective is to make sure they're clean, they're air-conditioned buses, and they are in good condition so that we don't have issues with breakdowns. We also have several golf carts in our Mina camp. Alhamdulillah, we were able to use it. We were the first company to use this golf carts for the ease of pilgrims. And the reason we use the golf carts is because sometimes, as I mentioned, King Fahd Road till the end of the tunnel, they may shut the roads down because of the sheer amount of people. There's no way the traffic can move. So for those who need help, elderly and in need, how do we get from the camp to the end of the tunnel? Because that's where the bus is, because it cannot come in. You can walk 1.25 miles, or for those who need, we provide golf carts to take them to the end of tunnels, and from there they can walk to the bus. So here's the example of Dar El Salam's golf carts. You can see the numbers on them, 3 or 4. I think we had about 12 last year. And you can see people in front of our camp. This picture on the bottom left side is the camp is on the left side. This is the main entrance of the camp, and they're going in the direction of the tunnel, which is the edge of the King Fahd Road. This is about from here till the end of the tunnel is about 1.25 miles. When we do use buses, they are dedicated buses. So for example, the signage on the bus, so I will assign you a group. You will have a group number. Every 45 to 48 people is assigned a group and a group leader. We'll talk a little bit more about the group leader. But when you go on bus, the group number is actually clearly written on the bus. This is for group number 2, this is for group number 5. And the bottom right side are some of the wonderful staff that we have dedicated, work very hard, all kinds of hours to make sure that the services are provided to you by the Dar El Salam workers. The left side, you will see them all in yellow t-shirts, hundreds of them. Some of the ones on the right side, they are more senior staff. They are responsible for hotel services or passport services or managing the operations, and they're all there to serve you during the manasik of Hajj and also at other times. Now, another thing Dar El Salam does, again, nobody else does that. So when you're in Mina, then you're going to come over for Tawaf al-Ifada. Where do you go? Does the bus just simply drop you at the Haram? How do you get back? Because the group will be scattered. You're not going to be in one place at one time. By the way, the roads will be blocked. So Dar El Salam actually purchases a place. We pay for a hall, a grand banquet hall, if you will, or a grand hall, in Shuhada Hotel. Al-Shuhada Hotel is in Ajiyad Street, 450 meters from the Haram. So if you are in a deluxe program, which I will talk about later, where your stay is in Azizia, and you want to come to the Haram for Salah, where do I bring you? Shuhada Hotel. If you are in Mina in program 3, 4, 5, and 1 and 2, and you have to come, you don't have a hotel, you have to come to the Haram to make Tawaf al-Ifada, where do I bring you? Shuhada Hotel. So I have a place and a permanent staff and you can go there and you can walk from there to the haram. You can come back, and we're not going to be standing there in 115 degrees waiting for the bus. The bus is not there. You'll go inside. There'll be some refreshments, some juices, some water to drink, and the Dar El Salam worker will come back and tell you, by the way, the buses are now here, so you can come down and board the bus and head back. If you're coming from Aziziyah before the Hajj starts, or if you're coming from Mina for Tawaf al-Ifada or Tawaf al-Wada, this is the place that we use as a drop-off and pick-up place, and it has worked wonderfully for us over the years. But remember, this is part of the service that we provide that nobody does, and we pay for it so that it's convenient for you during Hajj. Now, this is a standard question people ask. Tell me about the hotels. So I'm going to share that as well. So these are the hotels in Medina that Dar El Salam intends to use. And these are the hotels. When you look at the 7 packages that are out there, you will see these are the only hotels mentioned. So we use Medina Movenpick, Medina Hilton, and Shaza Al Medina. Where are they? In proximity to Masjid al-Nabawi. You can clearly see on the map. For those who are going for the first time, these white shaded things that you see in the courtyard of the masjid, these are umbrellas that are opened up during the daytime to shade the courtyard, which is the marble courtyard, from the sun. So from Movenpick, you know, it's what, 15 steps till you enter gate 15. From Hilton, maybe it's 50 steps. From Shaza, it's the same. So our hotels are 5-star hotels in close proximity to the haram. And we maintain a relationship with the hotels. So the checking in is done by our staff. We'll give you the key. We'll try to resolve the problems. Hotels are always full during this time if you have any issues. And we want to make sure that you don't go out and get sick. So we actually have open buffet arranged in the hotels for you to eat. If you look at the hotels that we use in Mecca, there are 2 main entrances to the haram. One is King Fahad Gate, number 67. One is King Abdulaziz Gate, gate number 1. And you can see we use 2 hotels in the Clock Tower complex. The Swiss Hotel, which you can use. You can go down from Swiss Hotel down Ajiyat Street if you want to go outside, or you can walk inside the mall and then walk through in the mall outside to the courtyard, or you can use the Fairmont Clock Tower Hotel. There's another 5-star hotel, and they maintain their services. And of course, people ask me about Dar Al Tawheed. This is my favorite hotel. This is the hotel that is, I believe, in program 5 and 6C. There is no hotel closer to the haram than Dar Al Tawheed. And I am mentioning this for those who may have some issues walking or health issues. This hotel opens on the courtyard. It is actually on the edge of the courtyard. And if you can't get to even the courtyard, you can take the elevator down to its masjid, which is just above the mezzanine level. It's just beautiful. It's just very nice. They maintain the services. Fairmont also has the same thing. They actually have a prayer place in floor S2. So if you're not well, you can just come down the elevator into the S2, and you're still praying with the haram. You're still getting your 100,000 rewards for praying with the haram, because you're still praying in the masjid, and the safs normally come back. So, you know, excellent hotel. And then we're using Hyatt Regency, which, believe me, is just across the street from Ibrahim and Khalid Street, which actually is completely blocked during the Hajj times. No traffic flows through it because there's just sheer amount of people. And it's a very nice facility. I think it's rated pretty highly if you were to look at TripAdvisor. So regardless of the program, each of the program, 1 or 2 or 3, the deluxe or super deluxe, they all have at least a good amount of stay in the hotels in front of the haram, both in Medina and Mecca. And when you're in the hotels, you have open buffet breakfast. It's clean, it's hygienic, it has variety. You have flexibility in meal timing. Breakfast is from Fajr, after Fajr, like 6:30 till 10:30. Dinner is from Maghrib till about 10:30. So you have plenty of time to eat. And normally, I've not seen people asking for lunch. I mean, you don't feel. If you do have to have something to eat, what I see is people actually buying some snacks in a store like Bin Dawood stores, you know, picking up some snacks and keeping them in the room. But generally, all these years, I've never felt the need to eat lunch when I'm there. Breakfast is plentiful and dinner is plentiful. Not only that, it's not just the hotel. We actually have staff that are assigned to work with hotel management to resolve any issues that you may have. And we also hold religious lectures in the hotel as well as permitted. It's more easily permitted in Medina. In Mecca, it's a challenge, but we've done there as well. So that's the hotel itself. And as I said, each program has a stay. Now some program will go out and stay in Medina in front of the hotel or Mecca in front of the hotel, but they also have Azizia accommodations. And people ask me, well, why Azizia? Well, the reason for the Azizia accommodation is because you've already spent your time in the hotel in front of the Haram. If I extend that time any further, then it becomes a very expensive package. So I want to keep it economical. And so, because the duration of Azizia programs are long actually, and I will cover that when I cover the packages. And so Azizia accommodations, where is Azizia? These are Dar El Salam furnished apartment hotels. You can see in this map where the apartment hotel is that we have. They have 3 buildings here. It is right here. This is our camp. So if you were to walk through the tunnel, you can enter the tunnel right here, where this cut is, and you can exit right here, and these are the buildings. So you're close to the camp and about 3.5 miles from the Haram. Right? This is our apartment buildings. And this is a close-up view of the apartment building. The 3 buildings that we have in that area. Now, they are dedicated buildings. There's only quad occupancy. So if you chose double occupancy in program 2, double occupancy would mean that the 3 days you're in Medina, that's double occupancy. The 5 days or 6 days that you're in Mecca, that's double occupancy. But the 2 days that you occupy Azizia, one before and one after, that's all going to be quad occupancy. And we keep the women on one floor and the men separate from the women on another floor. So there's some flexibility for them to move from room to room. Open buffet breakfast, lunch, and dinner is provided in Azizia. The good thing is that no matter where you are, your shuyukhs, your imams, and your group leaders are with you. So they're going to stay with you in Azizia. So there will be religious lectures held in each of the buildings. There will be shuttle provided at specific times and days. Normally what we have done is we have provided shuttle, for example, for Fajr prayer, and then for Maghrib and Isha prayer, and then bring you back. And we also ask you to do your end of the bargain, which is, don't just go there for Fajr prayers and stay till 9 o'clock and then you come back to Shahada Hotel and say, where's my shuttle? So we'll rotate the shuttle, but sometimes they get stuck in traffic and you have to bear that in mind, that we're not purposely delaying it. But we do provide shuttle service to the Haram at specific times. Housekeeping, when it comes to it, is not like a hotel, but we have clean sheets and clean towels and everything else, but the rest of them is available as needed. Sometimes the cart is sitting there with all the clean stuff and people just grab it themselves and then change it. The room is accessible to you during the manasik. So if you are in Mina and you just came back from Muzdalifah and you say, I want to go to Azizia, okay, can I go and just relax and maybe use the bathroom? Yeah, you can do that. Now sometimes it means you can walk there, but you can do that. But remember, you have to come back because you must spend at least half the night in Mina. You cannot stay there. So you have to spend as part of Hajj time in Mina. So the room is accessible to you. I'm now sharing with you a picture of building number 2. This is what I used last year and the year before. And this is the front entrance of the building. It's very crowded in terms of the street. They're narrow streets, but you don't have to worry about that. You're going to be in the building, and you can see in the bottom left side, this is the lobby area of the building. And here's last year, this is one of the gentlemen giving the adhan. I can see Sheikh Shibli sitting here, and then Sheikh Abdul Hakim Muhammad giving a lecture after the salah. So this is the building. This is the open buffet that is set up in an S shape, and this is the dining hall where people take it. Very nice place to actually socially get to know each other. The imams are available. People go and approach them and ask questions besides the lectures. Basically preparing for Hajj. Speaking about the preparing for Hajj, what is it that we do? Now our job is to make sure that we provide you with all the information you need and provide facilities so that you can prepare for Hajj. But it's a two-way street, brothers and sisters. I can give you everything you need, but you have to find time in your busy schedule to prepare for Hajj. And the more you prepare for Hajj, the more meaningful it becomes over there. More spiritual high you get over there. The more confirmation you get in your heart, the more sakina comes to your heart. So I will leave that up to you. We will schedule things for you. We will actually make sure that they're the appropriate things scheduled. We'll provide you some flexibility. If I can't attend it, at least watch the recording of it. But remember, I cannot prepare your heart. You have to prepare your heart. And the main thing you're taking with you is what you have in your heart. The more What I say to people is that you gain from Hajj what you take with you. So you need to find time. If you're going to go for Hajj between now and departure, just like you plan your events for family or for friends or for social gathering, you need to actually put a calendar together to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and in preparing for it. Because you need to absorb all of this thing so your heart is prepared for this sacred journey. Inshallah, during the month of Ramadan, on the weekends, we'll have Manasik of Hajj teleconference calls. Last year it was held by Dr. Muhammad Salah. So it was one call for each program. So you'll know when your program is scheduled. It'll be a Saturday or a Sunday. Normally it's held at 5 o'clock and Maghrib would be around 8 something. So you have plenty of time. This is Eastern time, of course. And so you can attend the call where the Sheikh goes through the Manasik following the itinerary of your program. If you're landing in Medina first or Mecca first, etc. And there's Q&A session, and we actually record the calls so that you can actually then listen to the recording afterwards. It takes about a week or so for us to post the recording, but it's available inshallah. Video sessions on spiritual aspects of Hajj. We had one yesterday, Dr. Yasir Qadi, about mentally preparing for Hajj. We have several of them. As a matter of fact, if you go into the Ustream that you were on yesterday at noon, and the one you're on right now, you will see some of the recordings from last year. So we hold these spiritual aspects of Hajj sessions by many of the shuyukhs. Dr. Muzammil Siddiqui, for example, Dr. Salah al-Sawi was in Arabic and how to perform Hajj and Manasik of Hajj. We had Sister Hana Gamal about women's issues during Hajj. We also had Imam Ghulam Rasool in Urdu speaking about Hajj. So these are held on Sundays prior to Ramadan. Sometimes some of them goes after Ramadan, but always on weekends, and video sessions are recorded and made available for later viewing. In-person administrative seminars. So the biggest one that we have is held in New Jersey. And inshallah this year will be held in July, tentatively July the 8th. We're still working for a schedule for Dallas and Los Angeles and Toronto. And that it covers the comprehensive logistical aspects of Hajj. People tend to ask questions on what to expect when I land. What do I take with me? What the luggage requirements are? Where do I change my money, for example? So we go through that in extreme detail so that, if you're prepared religiously and you're prepared administratively, those worries are gone from you. You can concentrate on your ibadah. That's what you're going there for. So if you attend these seminars in person or they're streamed over the internet, you benefit from it. In some cases, we do record them, and their recording is available to you for later viewing. But again, you have to spend the time. You have to make that commitment. People benefit from in-person if they can make it, those who are living in those areas, because you get to meet other people. There's also in-person Manasik of Hajj that is held regionally. We held in partnership last year in Mississauga, Canada, with Dr. Hamid Slimi and Sayyidah Khadija Center. Wonderful fiqh of Hajj intensive all-day class that was held with Mufti Hussein Kamani and Abdurrahman Murphy, Ustad Abdurrahman Murphy at Qalam Institute in Dallas. Sheikh Mustafa Kifa held a day-long session in Chicago on Quran Academy. And in Toronto, Canada, they had 2 weekends of 2 hours each at the Islamic Institute of Toronto on how to perform Hajj, the Manasik of Hajj itself. These are streamed as well. Not all of them were streamed. But they're streamed and they were recorded and made available for later viewing. But the benefit is for you to actually, the reason we hold it in these different places, that if you can make it to one of those places, if it's a driving distance for you, then you get to meet the people, you get to meet the others as well, and it helps actually. Something else that we do that's very unique to Dar El Salam, and that is that we actually launch an online forum. It's an interactive repository that is interactive. The key word is interactive. You actually participate in it. You actually ask questions. We actually answer the questions. So it's a huge repository of communication on all aspects of Hajj. So I'm showing you these 4 folders. Information from Dar El Salam. If you were to go into this folder, for example, you will see in it Hamid Slimi's video on how to perform Hajj, Dr. Hamid Slimi. You will see the 11 episodes by Dr. Muhammad Salah on how to perform Hajj. You will see the fiqh of Hajj as presented by Dr. Yasir Qadi. You will see Q&A. You will see recommended books. You will see the posting of all these seminars that we hold and all these teleconference calls. That's where it goes in this big huge folder called Information from Dar El Salam. Then there is general questions. These are not program specific, general questions. Hey, where can I get unscented soap? Right? I mean, or where can I change my money? Would you recommend I change it in the United States or I change it in Saudi Arabia, for example? And so forth. These are all kinds of general questions that are answered in there. And then there's the religious questions. You know, can I use Vaseline when I'm in Ihram? What happens if I have to use earmuffs because it's too noisy in the state of Ihram? What kind of slippers do I wear? Those questions and answers. And within the religious questions, we have a section specifically for women. So the questions that only women have and women's issues, that's also in there. And then the last one is a favorite one, which is I'm in program 4B. I have a question about program 4B. It doesn't apply to everybody, so I'll put that question in the program specific question category. And the networking that I see every year is somebody's going to say, my name is such and such. I am flying from San Francisco in this program. Is there anybody else doing the same? Like to get to know you, exchange phone numbers and email addresses. So the friendship starts to build before you depart, and you become lifelong friends afterwards. So that's also provided as a facility by Dar El Salam for you to network with your fellow Hujjaj. Now, we open only, this forum is only open to Dar El Salam clients traveling for Hajj. So if you're not traveling for Hajj with Dar El Salam, you're not going to have access to it, because we get into nauseating details about some of these things, but I'm pretty sure that our competitors will enjoy looking at. And so online registration is required to participate. You'll be asked to provide an email address or the registration number, and it must match what we have in our record when we set up your record when you register for Hajj before we allow you to participate in it. It is not available yet for 2017. When it makes available, what I normally do is I actually precede the forum with the generally known questions and answers. So there'll be a bunch of questions and answers in general questions and religious questions and information. Once all that is set up, inshallah, by the end of March, you should have this thing launched to those who have registered, and you can start registering and participating in it. Here's what it looks like, the main page looks like when you look at it. This is the information from Dar El Salam folder. This is the general question folder. Then the religious questions folder. You can click any one of these things that are in pink, right? Or questions pertaining to women. And just to give you an idea, last year we had 1,064 different unique user IDs that participated. That's a lot of people. We had 203 different topics in all of these folders and 754 different posting. People will post a question, and sometimes we don't even get a chance to answer it. Somebody else will answer it, and because they know, things like that. Where do I get halal this? Where do I get this? And stuff like that. And so it's very beneficial. Starts, inshallah, this year will start by the end of March, beginning of April, and it will continue on until you depart for Hajj. And we'll shut it down before the last group departs for Hajj. So what I've done so far is actually explain to you our facilities. I've explained to you our services, Mina and Arafat and Muzdalifah. Explained to you how we prepare you for Hajj. Now we prepare you in the stream along with religious aspect and the administrative aspect. Now you're going to travel with us for Hajj. So when you get there, what does it look like? What happens over there? So you being the customer in the middle, you're going to have a group leader assigned to you. Each 45 to 48 people will have a dedicated group leader, experienced guy. You'll have an imam assigned to the program, not to a group, but to the program. You always have ladies rep. Ladies are about 50% of all the Hajis that go. And so there are some ladies that will feel only comfortable talking to a lady. So you'll have a ladies representative in each program. And all of the group leaders and imam of a particular program is managed by a program manager, a person dedicated to that program. And it's supported by an operations manager. An operation manager is the one who's going to provide the resources needed by this program. And the resources could be dealing with departures, arrival, hotels, transportations, and so forth. Then the last ring that I want to show you is that we have senior Dar El Salam management team. The owner of Dar El Salam is there. Somebody in charge of all of Mecca and Mina and Arafat and Medina. So this is the management structure surrounded to make sure that the services are provided to you. The facilities are provided to you. Your issues, whether they're administrative in nature or religious in nature, are actually being addressed. And so what you see on the right side is the Hajj Operations Center, which is HOC, is for each program asking for the same type of resources or an issue that goes across multiple programs. HOC is the balance that actually manages all of the resources and the allocation of the resources as needed by each of the operation manager and program manager for the respective program. So group leader, experienced guy, dedicated, optimum size 45 to 48. Will you know him? Sure you will know him. You will know his mobile phone number. You'll know who this person is. Stays with you in the hotels, stays with you in the camps, leads the group during travel to Mina and Arafat and Muzdalifah, and provides guidance and assists in logistical services, not religious services. Imams assigned to every Hajj program. They know all aspects of Hajj. They're dedicated and assigned to the assigned program. They give lectures in Medina and Mecca. They lead the congregational prayers and give lectures in Mina and Arafat and Muzdalifah. They're available for question and answers on all fiqh issues about Hajj. They travel with you and they stay with the assigned program. And at the bottom are the examples, some of the examples of the Imams. Dr. Muzammil Siddiqui, you may know some of them. Dr. Muhammad Salah, Dr. Yasir Qadi, you may have heard him yesterday. Dr. Salah Sawi, Dr. Abdul Hakim Muhammad, Dr. Hamid Slimi, Dr. Rida Badir, Mufti Hussein Kamani, and Sheikh Mustafa Kifaya, Sheikh Abdul Hamid, and there are many more. I just ran out of space. I could have filled this with many more. I think we had about 25 or 26 last year, just to give you an idea. 25 or 26 Imams last year. Program manager, years of management experience, dedicated to the program, and they manage all the group leaders and Imams within their program. It is for them to make it successful. An operation manager is generally a Dar El Salam employee. I managed program 4 operations years ago. I managed program 2 operations for the last 2 years. So my job is to make sure that all the resources that are needed, and when I'm transferring your luggage, when the buses are needed to be there, making sure the camps are set up, all those are provided, full logistical support to the Hajj program. We also have physicians assigned for Hajj each year, medical needs and advice. They are available in Medina, they're available in Mecca, they're also available in Manasik of Hajj. We actually had a medical tent set up for this purpose in Mina. Key logistical services. No matter whether you arrive as a group or you arrive as an individual, there's always someone to meet and assist you at arrival and when you're departing. Check-in and check-out, issue resolution with the hotel, transportation management, luggage management and transfer. So when you travel, if you're starting in a program that starts in Medina and then you go to Mecca, you don't take luggage with you. The luggage is picked up by us and transferred it on your behalf so that you can travel lightly and it becomes very convenient for you to travel. And so what does that mean to us? It means to us about 6,000 pieces of luggage that we handle for each of the programs. When you look at the programs, transfer back and forth. So that's a big task. That's a department by itself. And so that's what we do to make it easier for those who are traveling. Managing the passport, you lose your passport, you surrender your passport to the government authorities when you land either in Jeddah or in Medina. But we have dedicated people working with the Mutawif to make sure we know where your passport is. We can't handle it, we can't keep it, we can't take it, but we know that he has it. We know the list of people that are arriving, so he must have it. And when you move from Medina to Mecca, we make sure that it moves from his office in Medina, it moves to his office in Mecca. So we track it, and in the end we help to actually get it released back to you when you're departing back to the United States. Arranging your Qurbani. We also provide valuable safekeeping service. So 7th of Dhul Hijjah, one day before you're going to Mina, you have some valuables you don't want to take with you. You don't want to leave it behind in the room either. Or in some cases, you don't even have a room. So we will actually, offer that service to you. We'll keep it for you, and at the end of Hajj, at the end of Manasik, we'll return it back to you. I don't think any other company does that. Assisting in medical emergencies. So if you get sick, you're going to miss your flight. We're not going to abandon you. We've never abandoned anybody. You're going to miss your flight, we'll get you another flight. But somebody will be with you when you need us. We've never ever abandoned anyone in our history. The biggest example I use is Hurricane Sandy in 2012. It hit the US East Coast on the last day of Hajj. We had a whole bunch of people, 2 buses that went to the airport and no flights were available. We didn't leave them there. We didn't say, hey, by the way, it's an act of God. You're up to you. I know of other travel agents that have done that. We brought you back into the hotel, 5-star hotel in Jeddah. We fed you 2 open buffet meals. The next night the flights were closed. We still kept you there. And when the flights finally did open, that one flight to Washington that was open, we took 280 out of the 300 and some seats and made sure that you had a separate check-in and got you out to your family and loved ones. We did not abandon you. We've never abandoned anybody in the state of emergency. That one thing you can be assured of. Inshallah. Now we're going to go through 2017 packages. The reason I went through this in the webinar with you is because this contains information that you should be asking if you didn't know, if you're doing a comparison shopping, for example, or you should know about these things because it has an impact on your act of worship. If your things logistically or administratively is not being handled, shaitan is busy working with you and it's taking away your concentration, right? So we want to make sure that we take care of all these things, and these are the services. You cannot really write all that up in the website when you put the Hajj packages together. So that's why this webinar is being prepared to say Dar El Salam is there for a purpose, and that is to make sure you perform your Hajj that is fulfilling to you spiritually. And therefore these are the services and facilities provided to you so that you can concentrate on the purpose you're going there for, which is perform Hajj, ibadah, to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the closest you're going to get, is to His house, right, as such. So now that you know all of that, let's talk about what is available as packages. So we offer several different packages. They are extended, optimal, or short duration. They either begin in Medina or Mecca, they travel on different dates, and they depart from major USA gateways. The idea here is that let's provide a variety of programs that would suit almost everyone's needs without compromising our standards. Now, what has happened this year that is new, in case you didn't know this, those who don't know this, for the last 4 years, there was a